right now. There we go, so that we can absolutely start at 1 o'clock. I'm excited to share this with you guys and girls. I always say guys. If I say I'm excited to share this with you girls, guys get offended. But if I say I'm excited to share this with you guys, we girls don't get offended, right? We just say we say it all the time. I call everybody guys. Right. We have lots of guys here with us today too. Normally I have my notes up on my screen and I'm working from paper today. Okay. So, oh, Erica made her bed. Good job. So did I. So did I. So if you're not sure what Erica means, if you go to Director Success and search Stacy Itzel, make your bed, she'll tell you what, you'll be able to see what I'm talking about. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Stacy Itzel and I'm a National Executive Director in Annapolis, Maryland. Today I am coming to you from Claremont, Florida. Yay, I needed some sunshine. So I flew down here to stay with my mom. And I am excited to share with you 6 steps that you can implement within your parties to book parties from your parties. So just so you understand what we're talking about today, we're talking about booking parties from parties. So one thing that I am not going to be talking about with you is host coaching. And I want to point that out, that host coaching is really, really critical to booking parties. So make sure you're doing that. And it's critical because you need to get people into your parties so that you have people to book with. So know that that's another key area of this business that we're not focusing on today. The better attendance you have in your parties, the more potential bookings you'll have. And the other thing that there's a huge focus on recruiting this month, right? We have this amazing $39 kit that we can offer. And the nationals that I'm working with, we strategically planned to talk about bookings first because your parties is where you find most of your recruits. So you don't have to write this down, but just so you know, here are the 6 things that we're going to talk through today. And I'll call them out as we go through them, but we're going to talk about the importance of tracking. We're going to talk about the importance of party posts. We're going to talk about the importance of a host partnership to help you get bookings. We're going to talk about a party survey. We're going to talk about asking guests, which I'm sure that's a given. You all know that. And then we're going to talk about follow-up. But before we dive into those things, I want to take you back to your childhood for just a minute, or maybe it was just last week if you have kids and you live in a warm and sunny place. If you ever had an above ground pool or were in an above ground pool, you might have done something like this. Imagine you're standing in a pool that's above ground and it's about 3 to 4 feet deep. The water is cool and refreshing, and maybe you've got some beach balls floating in the pool, maybe a noodle or some sort of floaty. We have a shark floaty in our pool at home. And you decide that you're going to have a little fun and you're going to make a whirlpool. Let me see your heads nod or throw up a hand in the reactions if you've ever made a whirlpool. Okay, perfect. So to make a whirlpool, you know that you have to start walking or swimming in the same direction over and over and over again. And when you first start out, it's not easy. It's actually a lot of hard work. You're going around and around and around, and it feels like you're working really hard, but not seeing any results. However, after about 20 or 30 times around the pool, you finally start to feel the water moving with you. And pretty soon, that current starts to actually pull you with it, and it gets easier and easier. You're still swimming and you're still walking. Maybe you're even laying on a floaty and kicking, but it's not as hard. As a matter of fact, that noodle, that floaty, that beach ball are actually moving around right along with you in the current that you created. Now, the only thing you cannot do to keep this whirlpool going is stand still. The minute you stop and stand still, the water flow has an obstruction and the current begins to slow. And if you don't start back up again quickly, you will have to start all over again. Now, some of you can already figure out where I'm going with this. I want you to think about your party schedule right now. Is your booking whirlpool going strong? And today you just want to pick up some extra strategies to take it to that next level, to increase the water flow. Or maybe you have some bookings on your calendar, but they're all spread out. You've got a party next week. You don't have any the following week. Then you have 2 parties after that, and then a party after that. So it feels like you're stopping and starting your whirlpool over and over again. And it's not as fun because the current isn't really pulling you along. Or maybe you're at a complete standstill in the middle of your pool. You have no bookings on your calendar and you need to start the hard work to get it going. No matter where you are today, I'm confident that the 6 tips that I'm going to share with you are going to keep your whirlpool going once you get it going. And how do I have this confidence? Because I'm going to share with you exactly what I do and have been doing since November of 2019, when I started the transition from doing 2 to 3 in-person parties a week and 8 online parties a month, to now consistently booking 12 to 15 parties a week, all online. Exactly what I do. Okay, now to start this whirlpool, if you are at a standstill, or maybe you've got a couple parties here or there, you're going to have to go do that hard work yourself and get 2 weeks of parties booked. 4 parties a week. That's what it's going to take to get your whirlpool started. And I know this isn't new to you. I know that if you've been in Dash, you've heard 4 parties a week. This is always working smarter, not harder. Let me show you, though, why starting with 4 parties a week, at least 2 weeks in a row, is critical to getting that whirlpool going and keeping your business, keeping the whirlpool going. All right, so let me see somebody's face that I can see. Amy Shaw Chilson, I see your smiling face. Can you see my screen that says bookings calendar? Just nod your head. Okay, perfect. I wanted to make sure I had shared the correct screen. All right, so right here, if you don't have, everybody should be starting their parties on the same day. That's a given. Our team starts our parties on Friday. So if I was looking at my calendar and I didn't have, let's say next Friday and the following Friday booked with 4 parties, that's where I would be focused all this week, lining up next Friday and the Friday after that with 4 parties a week. And the way we do that is the 30 asks a day and following up on that. That is right here, the 20 or 30 times around the pool to get that current going. Now, we all know, we've all had parties where we say maybe the party flops. And by flop, it's not just that the host doesn't invite. It's not just that the host doesn't get a qualifying party. You could have $1,000 party, but get no future business from that party. No future bookings. That happens. So the importance of having 4 parties a week is not just to have the sales. not just to find recruits, but also to generate future bookings. But I'm telling you, even with a party flopping, you can still keep your business going with 4 parties a week. So in this scenario, each of these are 4 different hosts. So we have black host, teal host, pink host, green host, orange host, whatever color teal that is, lavender, and navy blue. This week, this host, we get no future business from. So that's a flop, meaning for some reason or another, we got no bookings. Now, the green check mark means in this scenario that this host joined my team, because we also know that when you're consistently doing 4 parties a week, you on average recruit 1 person to your team a week. And most of the time that is your host. That's who you should be working to recruit each week, especially when you're getting those 2 to 3 bookings per party. So from this host and this host, there are no future bookings for me. However, this host is going to generate 2 to 3 bookings, and we've got a party booked here, a party booked here, and a party booked here. Then pink host, same thing, booking, booking, booking. The following week, our flop, our join, from these 2 hosts, we can average 2 to 3 bookings and book out another 3 weeks solid. So at the bare minimum, if you're only booking 2 parties from each of these, you've replaced. But when you really focus on getting 3 parties from at least 2 of the 4 shows, not only are you replacing your 2 weeks of bookings, but you're growing your business by a week. And this is actually really key to recruiting, because one of the reasons that consultants are afraid to recruit is they don't have a full show calendar. When you're consistently booking parties, you're looking for someone to give those parties away to. All right. So now that you see how mathematically 2 solid weeks of booking parties can keep your schedule full, let's talk about why you might not have the full show schedule that you want today. And this is always something that you have to reflect about and take ownership on yourself. If you don't have the calendar schedule that you want, there's something that you need to change personally. And that is always true for me too. So when I say you, I really should be saying we. There's something we need to change. So I want you to write down these 3 words: belief, will, and habit, because most of the time it's going to come down to one of these 3 things. Let's talk about belief first. Do you believe that people want to book parties? Do you believe that when you do a party for a host, you are actually doing something for your host, not to your host? That they aren't necessarily doing you a favor, you're doing something for them. Do you believe that you're saving your host money? Or do you believe that you're helping your host to raise money for a charity or organization? Again, instead of you doing them doing a favor for you. Do you believe that you're providing a service to your customers through your parties? Do you believe that you have something valuable to offer through your parties? If you are struggling with any of these beliefs, you need to circle that word and reach out to your director and say, I really struggle with believing that people want to have parties, that I'm providing a service for them. Because your belief, I know you guys have heard this too, your belief determines your actions and your actions determine your results. And if you don't believe the right things about parties, that you're doing something for your house and that people want to have them, you're not going to do the 6 steps that I'm going to share with you, and you will never have a full show calendar. Belief is foundational. So maybe your belief is spot on. You're like, yes, Stacy, I'm with you, sister. I believe it. So let's talk about will next. Maybe you believe all the right things, but at the end of the day, you just make a different choice. You're tired. You know what you should be doing. You just don't do it. You choose to watch another episode of Bridgerton or Firefly Lane or whatever's like popular on Netflix right now. You tell yourself, I have too much on my plate today. I'll do it tomorrow. Or my kids really need me to watch this movie with them tonight. You let mom or dad guilt set in, and you don't do the things that you know you should be doing. And every time you choose to not do the things that you know you should be doing, you are stealing from your future self. You're robbing yourself. And remember, if you believe that every time you do a party, you are actually serving others, you're actually stealing and robbing other people of opportunities to earn free and discounted products, to raise money, to learn new recipes, to have a social, fun interaction. For some of you, your family and your children are your reason that you started this business. Don't let them be the reason you don't work on your business. To be successful in your bookings whirlpool, working on your business is flexible, but it is not optional. If you lack willpower, I want you to circle that. And that's something that you can own yourself and make a decision today that you're going to do all of the things all of the time. And then finally, let's talk about habit. If you don't have a full show schedule and you're not struggling with belief and you've got the willpower, you're working on your business every day, then habit is probably the area that you need to focus on. What I mean by this is you know what to do, and sometimes you do it, and sometimes you don't. Sometimes you do some of the things, sometimes you don't do all of the things. To have a strong show schedule, you have to do all of the things, all of the time, no exceptions, no excuses, no ifs, ands, or buts. I'm going to share my screen one more time. I think I've got another slide to show you. Here we go. So, oops, let me see. This is where I was. How do I fast forward the slide? Sorry, guys. I need to move this thing out of the way. My PowerPoint toolbar is, oh, here we go. This is the one I need. There we go. Can you guys see this now where it says do all the things? Okay. This was a message between a consultant and a new consultant. And she was, this is the recruiter right here. And she was telling her new consultant, thanks. So far, I have 3, potentially 4 bookings just from going by the checklist and verbiage you provided, Stacy. And she says, it really works. And then her new consultant says, good to know, thanks. So brand new consultant got 3, potentially 4 bookings from this party just by doing all of the things. Okay, so that leads me to the first step to having a full show schedule, and that's the tracking. In November of 2019, before the pandemic had started, I had the desire to cut back on my in-person party schedule and move to an all online party schedule. So I sat down with lots of top sellers within Pampered Chef who were 100% online. One of them in my organization and some other amazing leaders that I really looked up to and had strong personal businesses. I knew that I'd be able to sell always doing online parties. I was more concerned with booking from parties and recruiting from those parties. So after my conversations, what I realized was I was doing all of the things that they were doing. I was doing them sometimes, not all of the time. And I just said how important that was. So I realized that I needed to create better habits for my online parties and become more consistent in doing everything I could do to bring success. So I made a tracker that had boxes for me to check off for each part of my system in my parties for both booking and recruiting to help me create those good habits. And I know you guys are going to ask for it. So yes, my organization already has access to the tracker and the videos. If you're in another organization, I'll make sure your national has that so that they can share it with you. So on my tracker, I would track things like the guests that were participating versus the guests that orders, offering the business to my host 5 times, overall guest attendance, the goal to book 3 parties from every party. And then my tracker would help me, this is important, my tracker would help me to identify when I finished a week's worth of parties, how many future parties I booked from that week's worth of parties. So if for some reason after a week's, so somebody
whoever you get when I leave, whoever.
There we go, got her. If for some, okay, somebody named Teresa, I need you to keep yourself muted. Thank you. If for some reason after a week's worth of parties, I had not replaced the same number of parties, I knew I had to then go find bookings outside of my parties. Ladies and gentlemen. Okay, Christy Mendoza, please. I just need you to keep muted. Thank you. It is so much easier, ladies and gentlemen, to find 2 parties from your customer list, from green dotting, from Facebook, from social media, than it is to find 8 parties and start your bookings whirlpool all over again. Do not believe the lie that we tell ourselves, I'll make it up next week. Next week, you might be down by 1 party. You might be up, but what if you're not? Now your deficit is so much harder to make up. No one loves looking at an empty calendar. No one loves being on the struggle bus. Looking at a calendar with 6 parties on it, knowing you only need to find 2 more is so much easier than looking at a calendar with no parties, knowing that you have to start from scratch. So when you're tracking and keeping notes on your party trackers, you can also go back to those trackers to find people where maybe you started to have a conversation, but you never got that date nailed down. And you can fill the gap that way. Without a doubt, tracking the results from your parties is foundational to having a strong show schedule. And quite frankly, it's foundational to having success in any area of your business. Recruiting, achieving excellence, achieving trips, all of that. Tracking is key. All right, so let's talk about the next thing, which is, oops, I think I shared the wrong screen. I missed my 3 monitors. Okay, let me put this down. What's next here? All right, we're going to talk about party posts next. Can you guys, Amy, you show up on my screen every time, Amy. Can you see that picture of me? I just want to make sure I shared the right one. Okay. So our next step, number 2 for booking parties from parties is kind of a no-brainer, but I want to talk about the importance of these kinds of posts. It's having some posts in your parties. You may have heard this before. People will buy Pampered Chef in spite of you, but they will book parties and join your team because of you. Have you ever had orders come into your party before it even started? It's like you create the party, the host joins, the shopping link's in there, and bam, a couple of orders come flying in. You haven't even done a single post in your party. That proves my point. Why is that? It's because people love our products. Believe it or not, there was a time, it was probably about I think it was about 10 years ago, 9 or 10 years ago, virtual parties looked very different. They would sometimes last 2 or 3 weeks, and there was one post a day. And I would have $1,000 parties, but I never booked parties or recruited from them. As a matter of fact, most of my virtual party bookings came from my cooking shows. That's where I would book them. But I would always sell because people will buy our products no matter what. But they didn't book because I wasn't engaging them and building that know, like, and trust factor with them. We need to connect with our customers. People want to work with people that they know, like, and trust. So how can you tell people about yourself and build that know, like, and trust factor in your parties? You can do it lots of different ways. You can use videos, you can go live in your parties, and you can use party posts to do it. Now, because I'm usually running at least 10 to 12 personal parties for myself a week, and then 2 to 3 launch parties as well, I don't go live in my parties. First of all, I don't want to do my hair and makeup that many times a week. So I just use a lot of videos. And I have a video, this is the one that I'm currently using right now, in my pinned announcement post. I'm introducing myself. I'm sharing some tips about how all of the prizes are going to work. And I'm also planting a seed right in that video about hosting their own party. I tell them that they're going to see a ton of products that they want in their kitchen, and the best way to get them, or one of the best ways to get them, is by hosting their own party. And then I also plant a recruiting seed in that message as well, that this makes a great side gig or side hustle. So how are you making a great first impression in your parties? So this goes up in my parties on Tuesday, the day that it's set up. The party doesn't start till Friday. So people have 3 days to kind of watch this video and get to know me. Here's another thing that I do. I want people to know, like, and trust me right away. So I'm building in a lot of posts in the first day of my party to give them an opportunity to get to know me, but it can't just be one-sided. I want to get to know them as well. So here is a picture of my family. I'm telling them a little bit about why I joined Pampered Chef, and then I asked to see a picture of their family as well. That's connection. A conversation happens when 2 people are talking with each other. Now, in this scenario, it's just happening through pictures, but they're starting to get that know, like, and trust factor with me. Here's another way that you can do that. This is a picture in my party where it's just silly stuff about me. Again, I share some fun facts about me, why I started Pampered Chef. We're one of the top teams in the company. I tell them about my happy place. I also tell them about my favorite candy, which happens to be Pez and Tic Tacs, in case anybody needed to know that. And then I ask them some fun facts about themselves as well. Again, giving them an opportunity to have that two-way conversation. And then videos, not just about you, but customers want to see consultants using products. Our business we have been around for 40 years, and Pampered Chef was built on the cooking show. And you don't have to even show your face on videos. I do a lot of videos with just my hands. So anybody can do videos in their parties. I do use some marketing imagery in some of my videos, but this is a clip that I took from one of my surveys. We'll talk about surveys later. She said, I did look forward to the info coming out each day, gave me something to look forward to in these weird times. Thank you. Your videos were also very helpful and more personal than the stock ones. So start small if you have to. Make one video of yourself making a recipe or using a product. And if you're not comfortable showing your face, show your hands. It builds the know, like, and trust factor. And then finally, this is a scenario where I do use the stock video. I think this is great. Pampered Chef made a great video of showing people hosting and participating in a party. And that's one of the posts that I have in there as well. Okay, well, I'm not going to say any questions so far. I forgot, I'm going to hold those to the end. So far, we've talked about the importance of tracking, and we talked about the importance of building that know, like, and trust factor, because people will buy in spite of you, but they will book because of you in your parties. So step 3 is the host partnership or host booking challenge. We're not talking about host coaching here. This is you reaching out to your host and asking them if they want your help securing bookings from their party. So remember, when you do a party for someone, you're doing something for them, not to them. And when you believe that getting bookings is something that you're doing for your host, not just for you, you're doing something for your host. You're helping them to get the 40% off a future party pick. You're helping them to get the $50 credit. When you believe that, you will work with your host to help them get those bookings. So the day that the party starts, I always do voice clips to my host just to build that personal relationship. And I did that basically because I got some very negative feedback at one point from a host who wasn't having a successful party. Now, I can go below the line in that and say she wasn't doing the things that I asked her to do. She wasn't. But the way she perceived me running her party is her reality. And she felt like a number. So, because I was just copying and pasting my host messages. So after I got that message, I started doing the voice clips every Friday when the party kicks off. I'm talking about how excited I am. I'm talking about, keep following the tips. If they need to invite more, I'm encouraging them to invite more. But right then in that voice clip, I'm telling them that there's going to be a way for them to get future discounts, even a $50 shopping spree after their party when 3 of their friends have their own parties. And I tell them, don't worry, I've got a really great system, some really good tips to help you get those bookings, and I'll share it with you later. So I've planted the seed for the host partnership at the beginning of the party. So when it comes around later, they're not surprised by it. Okay. Then 2 days before the party ends is when I start this reach out to them. I share all of the details around all of the benefits that they're going to get. So think about the discounts and benefits that your hosts get after a party. They get a 10% discount for an entire year. They get an item 40% off at every qualified party that's booked for them from theirs. And they get a $50 credit when 3 qualified parties are submitted. And I ask them if they want my help to get those bookings. Not every host says yes. You need to know that up front. And we're going to talk about following up with hosts a little bit later to get them to say yes. But know up front that not every host says yes. So if you tried this before and stopped because your one host didn't say yes, Try it again. 90, well, that's, I don't know, I'm terrible with making up numbers. Most of my bookings come from this. More people will say yes when you partner with the host than when you are just asking solo. The key is your host needs to message 12 to 15 people, not 3 people to get 3 bookings, 12 to 15 people to get 3 bookings from their party, and they need to include you in that message. And here's another tip, because we want to ask every guest in the party to host their own party. On your tracker, you'll see it built on the tracker that I'm going to share with you. There is a spot to mark off which guests in the party the host has messaged with you, so that you're not coming behind 2 days later and asking them to book in a private message or in a text when the host has already included you in the message, because then you look foolish. So you want to make a note of who the host is doing this challenge with. So we've gotten through 3 of the steps. We've got 3 more. Next, let me see if I had any slides to share. I don't think I did. Can you guys, Amy, you seeing the video? Did I share the right screen? Okay. Oh, you know what? I did forget to show you one other post in the party. Here it is. Make sure you're showing a screenshot of all of the party rewards. This is from the last catalog, so that's been updated. All right, so here's I did have a slide. This is a little image that I created. Guys, go create your own image. Like, all of my stuff is branded to look like me. So that's important to have branding for your images. Make your own image. It's just highlighting the benefits. And then these are the words that I'm messaging them. I can't wait to see what you pick out, going over all of the benefits that they get when they have a party. Here's the question. Here it is. I have a pretty easy way to help you do this. Would you like me to share it with you? We're going to come back to that later. So boom, Kristen decides that yes, she wants to get those 3 bookings. Kristen starts messaging 12 to 15 people, and she's included me in this message. So this is a message between me, Laura, and Kristen, me, Lisa, and Kristen, me, Julie, and Kristen, me, Kristen, and Kathy, Kristen and Stacy, and me. There was another Stacy. Okay. Okay, so next let's talk about the party survey. So this is another great way to get bookings, but I want to clarify that these are hot booking leads, not all your booking leads. If you don't remember and focus on the fact that these are hot booking leads, you will be tempted to not ask someone who fills out this survey and didn't check off that they want to host a party. Don't believe that lie. I'm telling you right now, I book so many parties with people who filled out the survey but did not check off one of these boxes. And it could just be that they weren't ready to commit yet. Or maybe they didn't understand all of the details of what goes into it. You still need to ask everyone. So this is your hot booking leads, your hot recruit leads. So I have always posted a survey in my party, but I didn't always get a lot of people to fill it out. So 2 changes that I made. I'm kind of stingy with tickets, and I don't know why, because they're just tickets, but I put big tickets on big things now. So when it's a recruiting post, it's 100 tickets for participating. When it's a booking thing or something where I really want them to engage, it's 100 tickets. 10 tickets wasn't enough. I did 100 tickets, people started filling out the survey. The other thing I started doing is tagging all of the guests that have joined the party in a comment under the post. And I do it in a tag under the comment because my theory is that it's going to help the algorithm rather than just tagging them in the post. So as soon as I started doing those things, is when I got a lot more people filling out the survey. And then I check that survey the day after the party ends, and I'm writing the names of any guest that filled it out but didn't order on my party tracker. And I'm also automatically adding them as party guests to my parties and checking that box that they want to book a party, whether they want to or not. Because at the end of the day, they will count as a party booking to help my host get that third booking if needed, but they have to be attached to the party. So I do have a mandatory, like they have to fill in their email address and name on this survey. Okay, also in my survey, this right here, I see which item do you still have on your Pampered Chef wish list? I'm asking that in there. So when I'm doing my booking asks, I can reference that. I would say, hey, Cecilia, I'm asking her to host a show. And then I say, by the way, this will be a great way for you to get that rock crock that I know that you said you have on your wish list. Builds that personal connection. Okay. I hate the screen sharing, so I'm going to turn that off again. On to number 5. Here we go. Ask every guest that your host didn't ask. So we are doing the host partnership first because most people will say yes through that. And then you're going to ask everyone else. Remember, people like to work with people that they know, like, and trust. So before I ask any guest to book a party with me, if they've ordered, I'm always sending a thank you text first. And I try to do that the day that they ordered. So if Sarah places an order with me today, by the end of the day, she's going to get a text from me that says, hey, Sarah, thank you so much for your order on Debbie's party. This is my full-time job. You can say whatever, this is your side gig, your side hustle, whatever. Your support means so much to me in this time. I wanted to let you know that we have a brief window to make any additions to your order in case you forgot something. This is where I also let them know if they're just a couple dollars away from the guest special or a few dollars away from the free shipping. And then I say, you'll receive tracking information as soon as your order ships. Thank you again for your order. That's it. I don't ask for anything. It is 100% customer service in that text. And then I'm not going to reach back out to them again until the party ends. That's when I do all of my booking asks, the day after the party ends, the day after the survey's filled out, so I can find my hot leads, when they've told me which items are on their wish list, after the host has done the partnership. And of course, everybody knows you should do a thank you post in the party. I know some people post every time somebody orders. I do one post a day, tag everybody that ordered in the last 24 hours, and I ask them to share which items they're most excited to receive. And of course, I'm marking it off on my tracker that I've done the public post and then I've sent the thank you text. Remember, all of the things, all of the time. So another thing that I love about doing the host partnership first and then me asking the rest of the people to host is, at that point, I've usually secured 1 or 2 bookings from my host sending out those 12 messages. So I can then in my ask say, would you like to host a party? I go through, you guys all have words that you use, but one of the things that I like to say is, oops, there we go. Amy is just 1 booking away from an awesome bonus. Would you like to surprise her and book your own party? Now, whether Amy has bookings or not, she's still 1 booking away from an awesome bonus, because a 40% off item is an awesome bonus. In my mind, I'm like, she's 1 booking away from a $50 credit as well. People like to help people. God made us that way. Human nature is to help people. I cannot tell you how often people say yes to hosting just because they want to help their friend. Look, she says, I would be interested in helping her. She's helping her friends get that booking. Just need to know what it fully entails before committing. All right, so final thing is follow-up, and this is where your tracker is huge. Everybody that you asked and didn't respond, you're going to ask again. The cliches become cliches for a reason, because they're true. And I'm sure you've all heard the cliche that the fortune is in the follow-up. And if you haven't heard it before, this is the first time you've heard that, it will not be the last time you hear this. The majority of my bookings do come through the host partnership and my first ask to my guests. But I always pick up another 4 to 6 bookings every single week through my follow-ups, through my second ask, through my third ask. A no response doesn't mean always, it doesn't always mean no, I don't want to host. Let's talk about why people don't respond. The first reason is life. Life is crazy. Life is busy. They saw your message and then the phone rang. They saw your message, then somebody came to the door. The dog needed to go out. The baby spilled the milk. The light turned green because, let's be honest, people pick up their phones at stoplights sometimes when a little thing flashes up, okay? Things happen to distract people. They read the message and life happens. They meant to respond to you and then they just forgot. Or they have young kids like I do, and their kid has their phone and sees the message and then it gets read, but the parent doesn't know that the message was read. And so they don't even know that they have to respond. That happens. Okay, second, they didn't see your message. Maybe it was because of the kid. Or maybe they don't have Messenger on their phone, or maybe you're texting, but it's going to a landline. Sometimes it bounces back, sometimes it doesn't. So if you're trying one way and not getting a response, if you're not getting the no, keep asking. It's okay to ask again until you get the no. We're going to talk about that in a second. And try emailing as well. Try a couple of different ways. You've got Messenger, you've got text, you've got email. And then the third reason that people don't respond is they're just not sure. They saw your message and they're thinking about it. They're not a hard no, but they aren't an emphatic yes either. So it's very important to message them again within 24 to 48 hours while they're still leaning towards the yes, while they're still living in the glow of the fun of the party, while they're still thinking about all of the things that were on their wish list that they didn't get. You want to ask again while that yes is fresh. And again, it's okay to continue to message them with follow-up words until you hear no. You are not being pushy when you ask again. Pushy is when you ask, they give you a firm no, and you try to talk them into doing something that they don't want to do. And I'm going to tell you in a second how I differentiate between those two things. One of the things I like to do is as I follow up, I like to give people permission to tell me no, because sometimes they're just afraid to say no. So if I tell them no, I would much rather have that no and move on to the next person than keep messaging somebody who just is afraid to tell me no. So let me share my screen again real quick. This is the same gal that just said I would be interested in booking. Look. This is my follow-up message. She didn't respond to my first ask. She responded to my second ask. And I know it's my second ask because I said, I don't want to be a nag or bug people. Let me know either way. This is me giving her permission to tell me no. She didn't tell me no. She came back and said yes. She wanted to help. And then we went on to book that party. Okay, so not only do you want to follow up with all of the people that you're asking, but you also need to follow up with the people that your host is doing the messaging with. And sometimes you also need to follow up with your host about even doing those messages with you. So here's what happened in this message. I sent the message. You saw that on a previous slide. Here's the little screenshot I sent my host. My host didn't even respond to it. She asked me about a knife that won't turn lettuce brown when cutting it. So that was like 11 o'clock at night. She says that. The next morning I answer her. She still doesn't say anything about doing this host challenge with me. So I asked her again. Hey there, just wanted to circle back to see if you want, and I'll explain this $10, to see if you wanted to earn that $10 credit on your host order and the other bonuses as well. Want to give it a try? She said, what do I have to do? And she ended up doing this. So I wanted to show you that just because your host doesn't say yes right away to working with you, follow up with them again. So this was an idea that Steve Drapowski shared with me. We were both kind of struggling to get hosts to really engage and do this partnership with us at some point. So we decided that, or he shared with me that he was offering his host $10 off of their current order if they will send 12 messages. And I thought, that's kind of brilliant, because I know that if my host sends 10 to 12 messages, I'm going to book 1 or 2 parties. I'm willing to spend $10 to secure 1 or 2 guaranteed bookings on my calendar. You do not have to do that, but this is one of those cases where the juice is going to be worth the squeeze. And I am firm about those 12 messages. I will come back to my host and say, okay, I'm worried that maybe I missed someone. Here are the 10 that I have. Were there 2 other ones that you sent that I missed? I want to make sure you get that $10 credit. So if they do 11, they're not getting the $10. They have to do 12, because it could be that 12th person that says yes to the booking. Okay. I know I have another screen share to do. Let me see what's next. Okay. What do we got here? Oh, we're going to talk about objections now. So no, I told you that when you ask again, you're not being a pushy person. No one wants to be that pushy Pampered Chef consultant. I don't want to be her. You don't want to be her or him. No one wants to do it. But I have to ask you, how many bookings are you losing because you let the fear of being pushy overcome the belief that you are meeting a need? Are you letting the fear of being pushy overcome the belief that you are meeting a need? So how do you know the difference between being pushy and offering a solution or overcoming an objection? For me, a firm no is a no, and we all get them. It just says no, no, thank you, not interested. And sometimes I'm like, well, or they'll just say no, and I'd be like, you could have said no, thank you. Like, did your mama not teach you any manners? Like, come on. But a firm no is a firm no. And when that comes through to me, I say, thank you for letting me know. And I ask them to think of me if anything changes in the future. And I have to tell you, 2 weeks ago, I had this scenario. The gal said no. I said, okay, thanks for letting me know. If anything changes in the future, I hope you'll think of me. Thanks again for your order. The next week, I got a text from her saying, hey, Stacy, can you reach out to this person? She wants to have a party. Because I respected her no, and I thanked her and, was very pleasant, she liked me and referred me to someone else. When someone tells me no with a reason that they can't do it, I see that reason as something I might have a solve for, a solution for, an objection I can overcome. Often I can provide clarity or advice or reassurance that turns that no into a yes. So here's that example. This was a host partnership. The host sent the message. The friend comes right back and says, I can't, I have been real busy. Sorry, maybe another time. The host sends a little love. And I come back and say, thank you for letting us know. This person had filled out the survey, put rock croc on there. I saw you have the rock crocs on your wish list. Would the summertime be better for you? She said maybe another time. So I'm like, okay, let's find another time. Yes, I could probably do that. Okay, great. As long as we do it before whatever, Becky will get her bonus. With the 18th work? Yes, let's plan for that. Boom, she's on my calendar, just like that. So as I wrap this up, and we do have a couple minutes for questions, I want to encourage you to believe that your Pampered Chef business is about serving others. When we're running parties, we're helping people to have fun. We're offering mealtime solutions. We're giving cooking tips. When we're working with a host, we're helping them to earn free or discounted products. We're helping them to raise money for a charity or an organization. If I don't do a party for a host, they have to pay full price. Think about that. They have to pay full price unless I do that party. And when I'm helping a new consultant launch their business, I'm making a difference in their life that can have an impactful difference for them for years to come. You will find success when you approach your business looking for ways to meet the needs of others. All right, so I did not have a chance to look through the chat. So if you just want to go ahead and unmute yourself, I can take some questions.
Hey, Stacy, this is Marina.
Hi, Marina.
I just had a question because what you gave out was a lot of information, and sometimes it takes me listening first and then watching later. I'm busy doing stuff. I'm multitask right now. So I'm just curious going to be.
I'm sorry, you broke up a little bit. You're just curious what?
Oh, where is the recording going to be?
Your national executive director will have the recording. It's recording right now.
Awesome.
I'll upload it to YouTube. Yeah, it might take me a little while.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Thank you so much, Stacy. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Hey, Stacy, it's Kelly.
Hi, Kelly.
Hey, I wanted to ask you a question about partnering with your host and asking them to link you with the guest message. How do you ask that? How hard is it to get them to actually link their friends with you? And do you respond on that message whenever they send it?
Yeah, so I have them. So remember in the message I said, would you like my help? And then they say yes. Then I come back and say, great. All you have to do is send 12 messages, blah, 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 blah. I'll even give you the words. And then I'll say, would you like the words? And they say yes. And then I remind them again, okay, it's so important to send individual messages and include me in the message so that I can follow up. And then I also tell them, I promise I will not nag or hassle anyone.
Okay.
And then they do the message. Now, sometimes hosts are a little technologically challenged, and I have to make a little video to show them how to start a message with me, another person. But that's easy once they're willing to do it.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Stacy?
Yep, go ahead.
Sorry, this is Carol Lewis. I had a question about your thank yous on the party. I usually have my host post a thank you to the guest, and I always reach out to them individually. Do you think it's more important that I thank them on the party?
No, I don't. I do it. I don't know why I do it, honestly. I just always have. A lot of times my host will as well. I do believe it's important to have a thank you post in the party because it shows the other guests in the party that people are ordering. What I do think is critical is that personal, private thank you and building that relationship with the guests outside of the party. So however you're doing that is important.
Right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much for this training.
Somebody's trying to talk. I think it's Melanie, but we can't hear you. No, I can see your mouth moving, but we can't hear you. Sorry. Okay. Somebody else have a question?
Stacy, I have a question. This is April Woznicki.
Hi.
Hi, when you're texting, are you doing that right from your personal phone or are you using a texting service like Project Broadcast?
I'm just using my personal phone. I have my thank you text saved as a shortcut in my phone. So for me, I just type the letters TYT and it fires off. And so when an email comes in, I just hold my finger down on the phone number in the email and a little thing pops up and I click send message and fire it off real quick.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, Stacy, I had a question.
Yep.
I was wondering, what do you include in your survey, in your Google form?
Oh, I will, I can give screenshots of that to your national, basically their name, their email address, their phone number, because again, I want to be able to add them to my contacts, add them to the party in case that party gets submitted before I secure the booking, they'll be already linked as a booking. I have if you go back and look at the video, you can see the questions that I ask. Those are the only questions that I ask in the survey. If they want some information about the business, about hosting. And then I've also started including if they want information about taste buds and enrichables. And then I will send them a link to those on my website where they can learn more if they're interested in that. Other than that, that's it. It's pretty simple. I want it to be fast and easy for them. And I do have a place for open feedback. That's where the lady said that she enjoyed all of the personal videos that I had done.
I have a quick
Sounds good.
question.
Yep, go ahead, Amy.
When you said, because you blew my mind just now. So when you say you're getting their telephone number and their email and their name, and you're putting in you're putting that in the party, the actual contacts of the party.
Yes,
Okay, that's genius. Thank you.
you're welcome.
Okay, can you hear me this time?
Yes, we can hear you, Melanie.
Okay, thank you so much for this training. It's been absolutely wonderful. I have a question about when you start those partner messages in your party. My fear is always that the party ends and I'm like, we have to get 3 people plugged in as bookings and people are still deciding. How early do you start that in your party? I did love that you said you mark a lot of people as bookings to kind of like cushion that, but how early do you start those messages?
I do them on the second to last day. So my parties end on Wednesdays. So I actually sent out my message to my host before this call. So 2 days. So my host has until 7 o'clock on Thursday to send those messages to get the $10 credit. So today I'm sending the message, trying to get his or her buy-in to do it with me. Tomorrow I follow up if they haven't. And then Thursday, a lot of times my host will say yes, but then the messages don't go out. And I say by 7 o'clock on Thursday, because Thursday night, that's when I'm picking up my phone and I'm going to start doing my asks. So if I get the bookings and my host didn't do the messages, then I'm not giving the $10 credit. And I really want the bookings to come that way because, like I said, I feel like more people say yes when the host is part of the ask.
Okay.
Hey, Stacy, it's Robin.
Hi.
Hey, can you share with us each step of the message that you send your host? I know you don't bombard them with the whole spiel about hooking you up with one of their friends and that kind of thing. What is each step of your message? If you could put that in a training somewhere.
So it's the first message is, thanking them, telling them about the benefits, asking if they want my help to earn the benefits.
Okay.
That's the first message. When they say yes, I say, great. All you have to do is message the people and I'll even give you the words. Do you want the words? Yes. Great. Here are the words. Make sure you include me in the message. Make sure you do 12 and you get 10. Host sends out the messages. I actually don't say anything to the people who don't respond until the next day. I let that sit. If they come back with yes right away, then I'll go ahead and start booking them. But then the next day is when I send my follow-up. I'll say something like, hey, Robin, Lisa thought of you. She thought you'd make a great host. It's super easy. Would you like to give one a try? And then if the guest doesn't respond to that, then I'm sending another follow-up message the next day. Hey, Robin, didn't want you to miss out. If you indeed want to host, I would love to help you earn free products. I'm telling them about the 3 kinds of parties they can host. They can have a host rewards, they can have a shared rewards, they can have a fundraiser. And it's when you tell them about the different parties that they can host, a lot of people will book that shared rewards party or that fundraiser when they would have said no to a host rewards party.
What about when your host doesn't respond to you when you ask her? Like
I ask them one more time. So I'm sending it on Tuesday. If they don't respond, I'll ask them again on Wednesday. And if they still aren't respond, usually when I follow up, they'll come back and either say yes, like the one was in the video, or they say no, thank you. And I'm like, okay, I'll just go ask everybody on my own then.
Mhm. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, Stacy. This is Becky Brand.
Hi.
Hi. Do you do this challenge for parties that haven't qualified yet? Because I always struggle with that. Like, I don't want to seem like I'm poaching bookings from them if their party hasn't even qualified.
So, Becky, would there be a benefit to the host in getting bookings if the party didn't qualify?
Yes.
There you go.
Okay. Just needed to hear it.
I know. I struggle. It feels a little weird, but you have to remember, why are you doing this? You're doing it for your host to help them get benefits. And honestly, they don't get as much. They get nothing with an unqualified party. They get a booking, they get something 40% off.
Hey, Stacy, this is Bryn. I was wondering, you said you run 10 to 15 parties a week. Do you do individual parties or do you do block parties?
I do individual parties.
Okay. How have you managed to not get flagged by Facebook?
I have been flagged by Facebook. I mean, it happens to all of us. We don't know why. We don't know when. Facebook's been playing nice for most people. I was in jail last month for a week. I have no idea. Just had to run it through my husband's. He's a moderator on my business page. So yeah.
Okay, perfect. How many posts do you do at each day?
About 6 to 8 posts a day.
Perfect. Thank you.
Hey,
All right. Okay.
Jessica.
Yep. I'll take 2 more because I do have another call to get on. Go ahead, Jessica. And then Delaney, one of the 2. Go ahead,
Just a
Jessica.
quick question. You said you have a tracker that you do?
Yep. I'll give that to the nationals. And I made a video that goes along with it to show you how to use the tracker.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Hey, Stacy, thank you. So quick follow-up question. I know you had already mentioned before that for your party survey that you automatically add all of those guests into the party if they haven't ordered and mark them as booked.
Mhm.
Do you do that for guests that have also ordered already in the event that they turn around after the party and decide to book as well? So it's basically checked off that everybody's booked, or how do you kind of determine that?
No, you don't have to do that. If our system is smart enough that if a guest was on the party but didn't book, it will ask you when you're setting it up, did this person book from past hosts?
Okay.
When you add a guest who hasn't ordered, the only way to keep them attached to the party is by checking that future party booking. So, I mean, it's not that it hurts it by doing that for the guests who have ordered, but it's time that you don't need to spend. And so I'm only doing it for the people that I want to make sure stay attached to that party in case they indeed book later.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
All right. So guys, I'm going to close this up. Remember, approach your business with a servant mindset and all the things all the time. Always track, always have posts in your parties that build that know, like, and trust factor. Always do the host partnership, always do the party survey, always ask every guest, and always follow up. You can't do the host partnership on some parties and not others. You can't say, well, oh my gosh, I got 4 bookings through the host partnership, I'm not going to ask the other guests. Why wouldn't you? Because then you could have 6 bookings. You come back to the host and say, oh my gosh, you need to join my team right now. because you have 6 friends. You're ready to start this amazing business. So go get your Bookings Whirlpool started. Keep swimming in the same direction over and over and over again. It works, ladies and gentlemen. I promise you. Bye.
Thank you.
Welcome.